Punxsutawney, Willie Stargell, Roger Staubach, whoever it was. But we all know that's a sports hero. And the real heroes are the men and women in uniform who serve our country, who put themselves in harm's way to preserve our way of life. Our next inductee comes from a generation of heroes who disrupted their lives, who gave sometimes the ultimate sacrifice during World War II to preserve our American way of life. Richard Treharne was a quarterback for the Punxsutawney Chucks on the 1942 and 43 state team, standout athlete. He also played basketball. He had a scholarship, as a senior, he had a scholarship to University of Michigan, and in fact, was such an advanced student that, as I'm told, he went to the University of Michigan in January of his senior year. Actually took college classes, participated in sports, returned to Punxsutawney High School for his graduation, and then rather than going back to University of Michigan and accepting his scholarship, he forfeited the scholarship and joined the United States Navy to serve his country. He did that out of dedication to his country. Richard returned from the Navy, went to the University of Michigan. He played baseball for the University of Michigan, got a degree in business administration, and had a long and successful career in business. He retired from General Motors in 1990. We're very happy to have him here tonight. And, you know, those of us who've had grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles who served in the wars, especially World War II, sometimes they're known as the greatest generation. They'll tell you, we weren't heroes. They'd never called them that. I'm sure Richard would never call himself a hero, but we can. Let's honor Richard Treharne.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? These things scare me. So before I start, though, there's one important correction that we must make on your introduction. That's okay. But I'm a Spartan. Spartans do not have a whole lot of love for those people down in Ann Arbor. That's very important. So I thank you so much for the introduction and all the praise about the World War II people. And certainly I remember the service here. It went on later on. I have a son and daughter, both graduated from West Point and are retired colonels and still doing the same work. And the grandson that graduated from West Point has been through Afghanistan, Germany, and now in Korea. So I'm very proud of them. Thank you. Before I get into the other thank yous, and since I'm the last one, I want to congratulate all the other inductees here tonight. I really feel privileged to be here and to be able to stand here with you. When you're 88 years old, I'll tell you, you feel blessed and privileged just to stand any place. I'd like to thank Keith and all the members of this committee who formed this Hall of Fame back in 1995, I guess it was, and worked so hard and tedious to keep the thing well and alive. I think it's just a wonderful thing. And I want to thank all my teammates I had back in Punxsutawney High School. I was in school at kind of an unusual time. We were right in the middle of World War II. A lot of my classmates were leaving school early and going to service. Some of them, pictures were in our graduating yearbook in their uniforms. Some of them didn't make it back. But it was a good time in a lot of ways because the country was totally united with one goal. And that goal, of course, was to defeat the Germans and the Japanese. And the other thing that I've heard a couple of the gentlemen use this term, and it's one that always comes to me when I think about my days in Punxsutawney High School and growing up here in Punxsutawney. And that word is respect. Because I'll tell you, I really felt in those years that we had respect. We had respect for our parents. We had respect for our siblings. We had respect for all those in authority. We had respect for our teachers, our coaches. And we had a lot of respect for each other. And that went so well through both athletics and school. I mean, it was just fantastic. So for that, I'm thankful for the time in which I did grow up. I'd like to thank, like everybody else, I want to thank all the teammates that I had back in Punxsutawney and a lot of them that I had at Michigan State. There's not too many of my teammates left. I may be the only one. I know they're rare. And I'd also like to thank my coaches from Punxsutawney, like all the other gentlemen have. My coaches when I was in high school were George West, who was an assistant coach, coached the JV football team, and Joe Herrick, who was coached here for many years and is already inducted into your Hall of Fame. And then in my senior year, a gentleman named Coach John Coleman came to Punxsutawney in the summer of 43 to be the basketball and football coach. And he got here, you know, because of the short time you have for practice, because of all the state rules and everything, and we were starting with a whole new system. John had our whole football team. We slept on the floor of the gymnasium in the high school, took all our meals at the cafeteria, and did 3-a-day practices. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but appreciated it. And then John also then was my basketball coach, John Coleman that is, and he's probably the man most responsible for me to going to Michigan State. We were right in the middle of the basketball season in 1943, and after practice one day I was summoned to go down to his office. And of course the first thing that came to my mind was, what did I screw up now? So anyway, I got down and sit down and talk to John, and he said, Dick, he said, you've been accepted for a full-ride scholarship up to Michigan State, and they want you up there by February 1st so that you can be up there for spring football practice. And since you don't have your diploma yet here, your initial credits up at Michigan State will work both towards your degree at Michigan State and for your high school graduation. And I got to say, after I got up there, it was just fantastic. Met some wonderful people. The head coach, Michigan State, picked me up at the train station in Lansing. The first place we went to was the president of the university. See him. The next place was the athletic director's office. The next place was the field house to throw some footballs around us. But, I was a pretty naive and dumb kid. Still not too smart, but anyway, at that time I thought, actually nobody plays football in the spring, so I elected to play baseball. So, in reality, I was really playing baseball at Michigan State before I had my high school diploma. I came back to Punxsutawney for the summer and then went back to Michigan State in the fall for football. In 1943, in the fall of 1943, Michigan State did not field a football team. That was because of the war. The football coach had gone up and coached a service team up in Wisconsin, Camp Grant. So in 44, we were the first team really going back into collegiate football for Michigan State for a couple of years. As it turned out, that coach was a gentleman by the name of Charlie Bachman, who coached there for about 13 years and played with Young Rocky at Notre Dame. And so it was a great experience, and we had a really good season. It was abbreviated because we were trying to catch up on the schedule, but we ended up with a 6-1 record and gave up only 1 touchdown for the entire year. So it was pretty successful. There was rumors that we might get an Orange Bowl bid, but that never did come, so it may have just been a rumor, I'm not too sure. So when the football season ended there in November, then I was getting very close to my 18th birthday. So I made the decision to leave state and join the Navy. And at that time my goal was to go in the Navy and perhaps one day become a naval pilot. But again, that never happened. But because of all this early stuff, my high school coaches, my teachers, and everybody, and the chance to go to Michigan State, I did return to Michigan State after the service, got my degree, and it was just wonderful. I've had a great life. I've really been truly blessed. I want to thank my daughter and her husband for driving me down here from Michigan. For some reason, they don't think at 88 I should be driving over. I think
Well, Dad?
you know, when I first heard about your hall, I started looking back on my computer to see all the early inductees. And this was truly a great look back and down memory lane and to see all these guys who, when I was growing up, were my idols, my heroes. And I saw names like Norman Slick Eklund. Slick was just an unbelievable athlete. He played all the sports at Punxsutawney High School, and he was a fantastic gymnast for Lloyd and Morgan. I don't know if anybody around here would remember Lloyd and Morgan who were at the YMCA. And we used to put on white surfaces every year. We did tumbling, we did all kinds of crazy things, rope spinning. The Slick was one of the great ones. There was Red Groom, Frank King from Walson. He was one of the first guys that I knew that graduated from Punxsutawney, played football, and then went on to play at Bucknell University. Red Groom, and then the legend of his own was Lou Roney. I don't know how many people were going to love it. And some of the later ones, when I ran into a teammate, and one of my best friends ever was a guy named Warren Huey. I don't know if many of you folks might know him. Warren went up to Michigan State, year I was in the Navy, and he had just a tremendous year at Michigan State. He was a four-time starter again, playing both offense and defense. In 1947, he won the Governor's Award for the most valuable player on the team, and he had many nominations for All-American. And just tremendous guy. And after he graduated, we stayed very close, and he gave me the honor of being his best man when he married his fantastic and beautiful wife, Beverly. So this is another big thrill in my life, so I enjoyed that. And then some of the younger names that I've heard all you guys mention that I didn't know personally or have the opportunity to see play. But I'm thinking like Jimmy Depp, Mickey Depp, Mickey Villar. I didn't see them play, but I certainly knew their folks, and I'm certainly I know how proud they were of them. And then, you know, it gives me a thrill just to see, not that I knew them, but I knew the families. And, you know, it really touches it. So anyway, I just, again, want to thank Keith and the committee, you know, for giving me this honor. It was truly unexpected. And, but it was really something that I also really appreciate, and I will just cherish the rest of my life. So thank you so much.